Hi guys, how are you doing? So today I'd like to have a talk with people who have experienced bullying in their lives. People who have been bullied in their lives either as children or as adults, because there are adults who are being bullied as adults. Bullying is not just about from childhood. Bullying is not, there are full grown men and women who are bullies, especially at places of work. Let me tell you, personally, I have experienced bullying at a place of work and also as a child. At a place of work, you experience these people who are either supervisors or managers, or just they have a managerial position, they have a managerial role, and what they have committed their lives to making other people's lives a living hell. They have committed their lives to ensuring that no one has peace as long as they're at work. No one has peace as long as they're around. Personally, I feel like someone who is not at peace with their own lives is the kind of person that would behave like that. If you are at peace with your life, if you have made peace with your whole life, and you are okay with the kind of life that you're living, you're okay with the kind of person or the kind of life that you go back home to, you don't have the time or energy or even the strength to bully someone else. I have a very strong opinion about bullying because it ruined my childhood. It ruined my childhood completely. When I was a child, like growing up as a child, my inner child still bleeds from the experience I had with bullying. My inner child still cries. My inner child still weeps from the experience I had being bullied as a child. I was bullied by kids. I was still bullied by teachers, especially these two teachers. I know that people usually say that you must forgive. You must forgive for you to be able to move forward. You must forgive, blah, 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 blah. But I don't think I've forgiven these teachers. I don't think I have forgiven them. If you have ever been bullied by a teacher, you know exactly how that feels. You know exactly where I'm coming from. So I feel like bullies should be held accountable immediately that happens. You should not wait until it gets to a point where, because I've read and I've seen and I've heard so many heartbreaking stories of bully victims deciding to take their own lives because they cannot tolerate the humiliation, they cannot take the pain, the guilt, the shame that comes with being bullied. Bullying is nothing to smile at. Bullying is not something simple. Bullying is something that we should all collectively stand against. If you notice that someone is a bully, do not enable their behavior by shutting up. Do not enable their behavior by keeping it a secret. Do not enable their behavior by not saying a word. If you look the other way, you are enabling that bully. If you notice that your child is a bully, by virtue of you deciding to keep quiet, you are enabling that behavior, and it's going to circle back and bite you in the ass, and you're not going to have anyone else to blame but yourself. Bullying made my childhood a living hell, and for some reason, if you're being bullied, it puts a certain shame over your head. And it's not supposed to, because it's not your fault, but for some reason it puts a certain shame over your head, and you cannot tell anyone. You cannot tell your parents or your caregivers. You cannot tell anyone because it's just humiliating and embarrassing, and you're not supposed to be feeling those things. It's your oppressor that's supposed to feel that, but for some reason you feel like it's on your head. You're the one that is supposed to feel it, because the thing about bullies usually make sure that they reduce you to the ground, completely reduce you to the point where you start to feel like maybe you deserve it. That is usually their first strategy. They tear you down completely to the ground, to the point where you think that you probably deserve it, to the point where you think that it is normal, to the point where you think that you don't deserve peace, or you don't deserve to be defended or something. That is why most victims of bullying usually decide to keep quiet. And these bullies, they bully you at work, they bully you at school, they bully you all phases of life. So it's nothing to be ashamed of, it's nothing to be embarrassed of. There are people that anytime, as in everywhere they go, they just carry a big load of negative energy over their backs, and they make everyone else uncomfortable. They make they make the life of everyone else a living hell, and that is where they derive joy. That is where they derive happiness. For some reason, I feel like it's demonic. If you ask me, I think, as in there's a spirit, a demonic spirit that has possessed you for you to be like that. Because if you ask yourself, like, someone who is just okay, someone who is just normal, someone who is at peace with their personal lives, they cannot have the time or energy to associate themselves with that kind of life. In my former workplace, there's someone I know that this person used to enjoy getting people in trouble. Like, it used to give them so much happiness. Like, that was the purpose of their lives. Like, it was something that I feel like they used to leave their house looking forward to, who am I going to get in trouble today? Picky ponky. Yes, that's the person I'll get in trouble. And they are going to make sure to get you in trouble before they go back home. So I used to ask myself sometimes, whatever it is that you're dealing with, I hope you heal from it. Because that character made them so ugly. If you're a bully, you are ugly. I do not care how gorgeous you think you are. But if you are a bully, if you have bullying tendencies, you are the ugliest person ever. There are bullies in the gym, even. There are bullies in the gym, like you work out as usual, you have your workout station, but you see someone doing something wrong, or you see someone who you think is too fat or something, and then you start laughing at them, or you start videoing them, or you just make some mean comments. You're ugly. That is ugly behavior. That is bullying. There are people who, they go outside and maybe they see someone with a bad hairstyle, or they see someone with ugly shoes, or they see someone with torn clothes or something, and you pull out your phone and you start recording that person without their consent, and then you post it online, laughing about it, thinking it's funny. You are a bully, and that is ugly as fuck. You are ugly if you if you behave like that. That is so ugly. It is horrible. So, as someone who was bullied as a kid, to this day, I struggle with, I cannot tolerate bullying, even just a little bit. If I notice that someone is being mean to someone else for no apparent reason, I will feel the need to speak up for that other person. Sometimes I'm even told, how does that concern you? How is that your business? But I cannot help it. And you know why? Because that is like, it's subconsciously, I am trying to heal my inner child who was bullied, my inner child who was too scared to speak for herself, my inner child who did not have the voice to speak for herself. So anytime I notice that someone is being bullied, anytime I notice that someone is bullying someone else, I must speak up, because I feel like I am subconsciously, it's not something that I tell myself, it just happens. It's like a reflex at this point. It just happens and I cannot control it, because I feel like I'm trying to defend that little girl that was bullied and she could not speak up for herself. I feel like I'm trying to defend that little girl who was being insulted, or was being mocked, or was being beaten, or being bullied, and she could not do anything. She could not speak for herself. So my way of compensating as an adult right now is speaking up for people who are being bullied. That is why it is something that I take so personally. I take it too personal, to the point where someone may think that I'm just starting trouble. But that is not the case. I'm not starting trouble. It's just that I cannot stand I cannot tolerate bullies. I cannot. I swear, I do not have words to describe what I mean. Like, I literally cannot stand it. And something that makes me so angry is that there are parents that are aware that their children are bullies and they do nothing. By virtue of you keeping quiet, you are enabling that bad behavior. I will say it again. You saying that they'll grow out of it, that is so misleading because it's a lie. Bullies never grow out of it. They keep doing it. They keep doing it. They grow into it. There are people that bully there are people that were bullies as kids. They bullied their fellow kids. They grew up, got married. They bully their partners in their house. They bully their children. They bully their workmates at places of work. That is who they are. Because they have never been held accountable. No one has ever held them accountable. That is why I'm saying you must call someone out at the first attempt. You must do it. Call them out at the first attempt. Right now, I find myself like I want to make peace with the bit of my inner child that felt helpless, or felt like she could not speak for herself, or felt like she was just it was okay. It was not okay. It was not okay. Because right now I see some of these bullies and I look at them and I'm like, how on earth was this the person who used to make my life a living hell as a kid? It makes no fucking sense. Because you're looking at them and you're like, they can't even come close. They cannot come close to you. Like, they cannot come close. So I find myself overcompensating as an adult right now, because like I want to pamper myself. I want to be pampered as well, because I feel like if you try to talk to me in a certain kind of way, or if you try to treat me a certain kind of way, it just brings back the memories that I'm trying to avoid. That is because that inner child is still very much alive, and you must cater to that inner child for you to live a complete and wholesome life. That is the fact of it. It's the truth. You have to cater to it. You have to be compassionate to yourself. You have to acknowledge it. You have to be gentle with yourself. You now have to come in. That's what I mean by now I find myself compensating for it. I find myself standing up for people. Anytime I feel like someone is being mistreated, anytime I feel like someone is being taken advantage of, anytime, I take it so personally. It's to the point, like, my mom is a very kind person. She finds herself giving too much to people, to the point where sometimes they take advantage of her. A lot of times, actually, they take advantage of her. It has happened so many times in her life. And I usually find myself getting so angry and so worked up about it, because it is one of the ways I feel like I have to compensate for the way I was not able to stand up for myself. Now I stand up for people. Like, I stand up for people, and it's something so personal to me. Like, it just happens without me thinking about it. It just happens subconsciously. Anytime my mom, like, someone tries to take advantage of my mom, I will stand up for her and I will speak for her. And I've gotten in trouble with so many people. There are so many people that I've rubbed shoulders with because of that. Because I cannot help it. I just cannot help it. I confront any kind of bullying that I notice. That's just how I am. Because I'm trying to cater to that child. I am trying to cater to my inner child that was not catered for by myself. Like, I was not able to stand up for myself. I was not able to speak up about it. It's not that I was not able to, like, I was not able to talk to anyone about it. I kept it to myself. I never spoke to my parents about it. I never spoke to my siblings about it. I just kept it to myself. And today, if I feel like I didn't like the way you handled me, or I didn't like the way you spoke to me, or something, trust me, you will hear about it. Whether you will like it or you will, I do not care how you're going to take it. You will hear about it. I am not one to shut up. Regardless of who you are, regardless of what you do, whether you are who or I will talk and I will tell you, because I kept quiet for a very long time, and I feel like I failed myself as a child by keeping quiet. Even though it was not my fault, I still carried it on my head. Just the other day, my baby sister is quite, like, she is the most unconfrontational person I've ever met. She is never going to confront you for anything. So she went to get her nails done, and for some reason those people kept her waiting for 3 hours. To this day, it happened like I think last week. I still think about it every single day, and I'm like, they kept her waiting for 3 hours. It bothers me a lot. I feel like if I were there, I should have been there to defend her. I should have been there to speak for her. Even though it's not a big deal. It sounds like something so small, but that is one of the ways I find myself reacting. That's one of the ways I find myself catering to my inner child. I find myself speaking up for people. Anytime I notice a small bit of bullying, either in your tone, in your behavior, in whatever it is, if I notice a small, I will step up and I will speak against the bullies. I'm going to speak against it. I'm sorry, don't mind my child. He's just here, he's playing. I cannot like do anything about it. Pardon me. Anyway, there is Saint, can you please give me a minute? Thank you. Also, the other day, in my apartment, there are some Sudanese people in this apartment. So the other day, I was going to buy food, and then I see this little girl. She's around 10 or 12 years old, a Sudanese girl, around 10 or 12 years old. And then she was surrounded by 3 boys and 1 adult female. 3 boys and 1 adult female. So this adult female, she is the mother of these 3 boys. So this woman, she was scolding the girl for something that she claims the girl did to one of her sons. And these boys were spewing colorist and hateful comments at this little girl. The girl was just standing there crying, and this woman is just there. They were all insulting this girl based on her skin color, based on her complexion, and I almost lost my mind. I almost lost it. I went right there, and I lost my mind. The way I spoke to this woman, I did not care about the age or anything. And then I held the girl's hand and I told her to walk away and go home. I did not care about anything else, because I take such kinds of things so personally, and that is how I cater to my inner child. If you're someone who is going through that kind of thing, if you're someone that, if you notice that your child is a bit more withdrawn than usual, if you notice that your child is not happy, if you notice that your child is going through things, please reach out to the child, because bullying has signs. A child that is being bullied, you can see the signs. It does a number on it takes a toll on their mental health. It takes a toll on their performance in school. It takes a toll on their self-esteem. It takes a toll on their livelihood, in their lives, like completely. It takes a very bad toll on them. So please be observant. I'm speaking to a parent right now. Be observant. If you notice that your child is a little more withdrawn than usual, or a little more withdrawn than other kids, make a habit of talking to your children. And it does not matter whether they're female or male. You know, there are parents that make very harmful comments and say things like, now if they're a boy, they say things like, as a boy, why would you let another boy hit you? You should hit back. That is very harmful, because you are enabling the bully as well. You are enabling it. You're not solving any problem. So don't make such stupid and ignorant comments to a child. It is your responsibility to defend your child, regardless of whether they're a boy or a girl. It is your responsibility as a parent to defend your child. You know, sometimes I speak to my mom about some of these things, and she's like, why did you keep quiet? Why didn't you ever tell us anything was happening? And you know, I don't usually have a response to that, because I never said a word. No one Mom. Ever knew that this was happening.
Mom.
Yes?
Please.
Yeah, baby.
Mom. Please.
Okay. No one ever knew that this was happening.
Please.
So if you are going through any of... Okay, just a minute. My baby is asking for tea, but anyway, I'm done with the video. I'll see you on my next one. Let me go make tea for my baby. And if you're going through bullying in any kind of setup, I am so sorry.
Mom.
Yeah? Okay, baby. I am so sorry. Have a good one. I'll see you on my next one. Goodbye.
Mom.